joined tonight by my beautiful sis, co-host Senga. And of course, Queen is holding us down in the chat. So Queen, keep those questions and comments coming because I have a feeling y'all are going to have plenty to say tonight. Before we begin, our quick recording notice, tonight's discussion is being recorded and may be shared by on our Triskelion platforms. By remaining in this live discussion, you acknowledge that your voice, comments, or participation may be included in the recording. If you prefer not to, totally fine. You're welcome to listen without participating verbally. Now that we've handled that, Stango, let's get into some trouble. So let's go ahead and set this table, y'all. Tonight we're asking one simple question. Can everybody else really be the problem? Because we've all heard it. Every submissive was difficult. Every dominant was toxic. Every metamor was jealous. Every ex was crazy. Every relationship ended because of something somebody else did. And sometimes, let's just be clear, let's be real, you really did encounter some unhealthy people. We're not here tonight to blame anyone for another person's abusive, manipulative, dishonest, or unethical behavior, but we are asking a different question. When does repetition become information? If the names keep changing, the relationships keep changing, the dynamics keep changing, but the ending keeps strangely looking familiar, at what point do we stop and ask, what's wrong with everybody else? And start asking, is there something in this pattern that I need to understand? That's where tonight's conversation begins. So the Sengo, let's go ahead and start with you. When do repeated relationship experiences become a pattern worth examining?
Ooh, I want to say immediately.
Okay.
When when you find yourself pointing blame or picking a person apart, you have to, when you're doing this, there's like three fingers pointing back at you. So if you
Yeah.
self-check, that'll help the person you're trying to check to have a mutual, I would even say a debate on what the issue is. I wouldn't say argue or have total disrespect, but a debate is always welcome because verbiage is key. You never um, say problematic things to a person. It's you, it's you, it's you. Well, it can't always be you. Sometimes it's got to be me, me, me. And no one want to identify with the me when it's quicker and easier to do it with the you. So me personally, I like to self-check before I check the person that I'm having that conversation with. Everyone has their way of doing things. And unfortunately, some of those things get out of control. But that's the key factor. It needs to be in a controlled environment before it becomes an out of control disaster. So, sis, did I answer your question?
Beautifully. Thank you, sis. So let's go ahead and get started. So, respectfully, all my dominants, my D types, please come to the front.
Please.
And we're coming from a place of education, of course, respectfully, never attacked. But we're also not tiptoeing around it either. Can you really be a good dominant if every submissive around you is struggling? One relationship doesn't work, that happens. Two people can simply be incompatible. But what happens when multiple submissives begin saying similar things? I don't feel heard. I never know where I stand. The expectations constantly change. I'm afraid to bring concerns to you. I don't feel emotionally safe. At some point, leadership requires enough humility to ask, what am I contributing to this? Because dominance and leadership are not automatically the same thing. Some are good at BDSM and not so good at relationships. And here's something I really want us to unpack tonight. Can somebody be good at BDSM and still be a bad relationship partner? Someone can know impact, rope, protocol, positions, punishment, structure. They can teach classes, have years of experience, be respected in the community, and still struggle with communication, accountability, emotional regulation, conflict resolution, or intimacy. So when we're vetting someone, and we say this a lot, of course, in my S-type chat, shout out to the Velvet Circle, are we impressed by their BDSM resume, or are we examining their character? And I know we touch a lot on character. We have these last Tuesdays. So to Singa, what do you think separates strong authority from healthy what do you think separates strong authority from healthy leadership?
Ooh, healthy authority. I want to say healthy authority over leadership. And I'm going to say this healthy authority is also part of leadership. It depends on the character of the person's verbiage. Here we go with verbiage again. Verbiage is a definite trump card you throw out to make sure balance is because neither one of them are bad, but
Yeah.
crossed incorrectly, both of them could be wrong. So I want to say verbiage makes the difference in crossing the two because the character of the person and how they approach you or give instruction, for an example, is the key factor to that. So that's a double-edged sword, but it can cut nicely or it can cut real deep.
I agree. Yes. We're going to go ahead and head over to our audience. Queen, do we have anything in the chats?
Of course we do. Of course. Okay, so Quinn said from day one that you start engaging in relationships of any type. Chance said absolutely. Sugar said yep. Any who said yes, it's possible. EJ says absolutely. Latricia says examine character to see if it matches with their BDSM resume talking. Coco said true. Chance said should be character, but sometimes S types get caught up and in the glitz and glam of it all. Oh, he does fire, wax, impact, etc. So I gotta have him. EJ says character is the most important thing. And that's all in the chat right now.
So, sister, may I say something?
Please.
I would like to use this as an example. For an example,
Ready.
like Sir Amata, may I speak? May I, and you hear me say that all the time, may I speak has your dom's ear. And the best way to approach him respectfully is to have his ear. Something as simple as may I speak is letting him know you're giving him respect to continue to say what he has to say. And then he'll let you know he's finished. And then you can approach with conversation. But that particular type of situation, I would say, may I speak? And then I will also would pick up with this. Your instruction came across from a controlled way, and now it's crossing over into a controlling way. May we have a discussion or conversation about this? Something that simple is diffused to the point where the Dom's like, you know what? Okay, what part of this you felt offended you? Because now he's still in the control and not the controlling part that you thought came your way. It's one thing to hear something and receive it differently. So allow both parties to make themselves clear.
Exactly. I like that. And I do want to apologize. I believe it started at storming. I'm in Ohio and my internet is going in and out. So if I freeze, please continue on, sis,
Okay.
and I'll catch back up. Do we have anything else in the chat before we move on?
Um, any who just came in and said respect goes a long way. And
Definitely
that's
does.
all for right now in the chat.
All righty. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. And the dominant mirror. The three different submissives who don't know each other tell you essentially the same thing as information. Doesn't automatically mean they're right about everything, but good leadership should at least be curious enough to ask, why am I hearing this repeatedly? Because sometimes they just can't handle my dominance, might need a little bit more examination. So, discussion question for everyone. Can a dominant become so accustomed to being in control that they become uncomfortable being questioned? Can an S-type respectfully say, sir, ma'am, I don't think you're handling that so well? And the biggest question is who holds this person with authority accountable?
Mm.
Anybody want to take a stab at it? I took it.
Sam raised his hand, please.
Ah, I'll go. Just listening and thinking and just kind of dissecting what's been said previously here. I come down and my mind said, do most people know the difference between a diplomacy and a dictatorship?
Mm.
Do you know the difference between discipline and abuse? You know, correction and constructive criticism, um, arrogance and cocky. It's okay for a man to be cocky or a dominant or dominate to be cocky, but are you arrogant? Because arrogance leads to error, which means you can't teach them anything. They don't want to evolve. It's their way or the highway. Nothing else works except for what they say. So they will always, but see, they also will not have the ability to see themselves ever being in the wrong.
Mm.
It's going to always be somebody else's fault, you know. But unfortunately and sadly, those are the ones who always end up with somebody. The good ones struggle to find somebody to be to grow and build a dynamic with. But the ones who drag people down through the mud and misuse, abuse, and treat them, they always got somebody. But by the time they find out they're in the wrong house, it's too late, and they hurt. And then they come into a group like this, getting rebuilt all over again, and sure, just as sure as my name is what it is, there's somebody out there lurking that can sell a good dream, sell a good story, and they latch on to that vulnerability,
Mm.
and then they use it again. There was a statement once made one time: "Do not use." This was to single men dealing with single mothers with kids. They come in acting like, opposing that they were going to help with the kids, but in all actuality, they was trying to get to the mom. And the statement was, do not use her circumstance as a weapon against her. And a lot of these predators, that's what I call them, they sit back and they watch. They listen to the stories. They listen to them pour their hearts out on how they got hurt 9 times out of 10. That's why it's not real good to say everything that happened to you, because you're telling somebody how to turn all of that stuff back around, repackage it, and give it right back to you and give you what you want to hear. And they're right back in the same situation again. But this time, in a group like this, somebody told them, be careful.
Mm.
It's up to them to listen or not. But at the end of the day, it's always somebody else's fault. It
Mm.
comes down to that person's character. It comes down to, are they arrogant or are they cocky? Will they listen? Will they take wise counsel? You know, that's my opinion.
Sir Sam, may I speak?
Yes, please.
Thank you for blessing us with that information.
My
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, we definitely love to hear. If there are any other D types online, we'd love to hear from you. We definitely this section is for y'all, but we about to get off of y'all because I don't want to get in trouble. Staying on D types too long. So do we have any other D types that like to make any comments before we move on? Because S types, y'all not off the hook. I'm on y'all time next.
I'm gonna go to the chat while we wait. Let's see. Coco said we have a signal when that is in play when both listen. Patricia said yes. Chance said mentorship and accountability partners are needed for both sides of the slash. Stephanie said yes. There should always be room for dialogue when something isn't right, as long as things are kept respectful. Timothy Ann said, oh, yes, yes, yes. My ex-dom did not like to be questioned. He felt if I just listened, he would answer any of my questions. Stephanie said, I can't deal with a person who believes they're always right and can't take no correction, no matter what side of the slash they're on. And I told Sam to preach because he was preaching over there. And Latricia said, because of many Because for many of the S types, after so many negative experiences, there's a level of mistrust or suspicion when the good things happen. Anywho says BDSM lifestyle has taught me that communication is key. We expect the S types to use discernment. We preach that we have a voice. It's a two-way street. S types receive correction, but there may be times that the D type should listen and view things from another perspective too. Growth can happen on both sides of the slash. Do D types take into consideration what their subs are expressing? Do they look at areas for growth or improvement? None of us are perfect.
Mm.
Yeah.
And for right now, that's all in the chat.
All righty. Thank you all for those comments. Y'all talking. I like this. This is what we like to see. So come close, my lovely S types,
I want
because
to
it's
hop
y'all
in real
turn
quick.
now.
I'm gonna hop in there
Oh,
real quick.
sir. Oh, sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I want to talk about how dominance can grow. I want to talk about my own situation in particular, and how I've learned to play devil's advocate quite often. Um, and my house, they know I do this very often. I'm always coming with, well, what about this? What about that? It's important. Um, if you can't play devil's advocate for yourself, um, you're only going to be able to view things from one perspective, and that's the perspective of feeling like you're right. This is key because no one is always right. You got to be coachable in order to be the best that you can be. You have to be coachable. Let's talk about Michael Jordan, um, arguably the best basketball player of all time. Um, but he had to be coachable. He had all the talent. That man could shoot the ball from anywhere, but without someone wrangling his game and teaching him, this is how you do this. You got to use your teammates. This is how you play. This is the different defenses and whatnot. He would have never been able to be who he was. He would have just been another guy that's good at basketball. The fact is, there's a billion guys that are good at basketball. If you from the hood, there's always guys that play basketball there, but not everyone makes it because not everyone has the discipline it takes to be able to truly make it. That said, I look at being a dominant in sort of the same way. There's a billion dominants out there, but there's levels to this. You get what you ask for. If you coming in hot and you're saying, I just want a dominant, you're going to get a dominant.
Mm.
Be a great dominant, but you'll get a dominant. If you coming in and you're saying, I want a good dominant, and you're doing the work on yourself so that you can be a good submissive and honest, like introspective work needs to be done here so that you can get that clarity. Then you'll find what you're looking for. Dominance out there. I want to get back to the main point of what I was trying to say about playing devil's advocate. We're not always right. We're not always right about everything. You're allowed to be wrong. If you feel like you can't be wrong or it takes away from your dominance, then your dominance is misplaced and you're not looking at the correct things for your dominance. Your dominance is nothing without submission. Keep that in mind, like for real. This is a real thing. Your dominance is nothing without submission. But your submission, the submission that you get is got to be earned. And you'll get that high caliber submission when you're doing the higher level work on yourself, to understand yourself better so that you can be better. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Let's keep it
All
moving.
righty. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir Knight.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for dropping
Appreciate
gems,
you.
sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Anything else in the chat? Good.
Let's see. We have Coco. She said, agreed. Being coachable requires acknowledgement and application.
Definitely. So, all right, S types is y'all turn. I know y'all was sitting there nodding like, yes, talk about it. Well, come on up front, y'all. Y'all know I love y'all because nobody gets the free pass tonight. Can you be a good submissive if every dominant you meet eventually becomes toxic? Again, and I'm going to repeat this because it's important. Someone else's harmful behavior definitely belongs to them. But we're talking about examining our patterns in selection, vetting, boundaries, communication, and relationships, which we always talk about in our S-type chat.
Mm.
If I repeatedly choose people with similar characteristics, if I repeatedly overlook the same early warning signs, if I repeatedly rush vetting, if I repeatedly abandon my boundaries once I become emotionally attached, then eventually I have to ask, what am I repeatedly choosing, overlooking, or rationalizing? Now, this isn't blame. That's not blame. That's information you need to use to protect yourself. Did you vet them or did you get butterflies? Because here's where we're going to have a little fun. Did you actually vet this person or did you get butterflies to start negotiating against yourself? Because let's face it, which we talked about a couple days in the chat, NRE is real. That stands for new relation energy, in case anyone didn't know. Sub frenzy, which we talked about last week, is real. Wanting to belong is real. Wanting that collar is real. Wanting somebody to finally say, you're mine. It definitely can be powerful, but desire can also make us start filling in blanks that somebody hasn't earned yet. So, the singer, what do you think S types sometimes overlook during vetting because they're excited about that connection?
Definitely frenzy. That's the excitement. Not having the proper knowledge or not making the proper check the box list asking when you vet.
Yeah.
They the newbies, they're just so overwhelmed and so excited like little kids in a candy store.
Mhm.
They want to be seen, they want to be recognized, but be careful how you're being seen. Be careful how you're being recognized because like Mr. Sam said earlier, there are predators that are observing your behavior. They read your body language. So your verbiage game got to be strong. You got to ask the right questions when you step to a dom. You have to be confident. You have to make sure that you connect with him on a level that shows interest that yes, this is a professional introduction of me wanting to get to know you. If you're going in giddy, girly, and don't get me wrong, being an excited little girl winds up getting the wrong type of dominant because they see a little girl, they don't see a mature submissive. So go with your A game and not your little girl game. If you don't know how to go in with your submissive adult game, then you need to talk to senior submissives to give you, like Sir Knight said, coaching. You could be a real good game player, but if you don't have the proper coaching, one or two things gonna happen. You'll never be a pro in your sport. You'll just be the neighborhood's best. That part. So yeah.
Absolutely. And plug for the Velvet Circle, the S type chat. We actually have a PDF file of vetting questions that Stephanie on the chat made, and it is superb. So if anybody needs that list, hit me up. Hit Stephanie up. She's in the chat. She'll go ahead and send that vetting questions. They are excellent. I
So
also wanted to ask
Stephanie,
something. Oh, go ahead.
no, Stephanie, would you be so kind to send a veteran that list? Because guess what? No matter how long you've been in the game, brushing up your skills is still an important thing. Just
Yeah,
saying.
it's a really good list. I think I actually asked
Yes,
her to
ma'am.
post it for, yeah, I actually asked Stephanie to post it
Mhm.
at least once or twice a week because I pin it and then it becomes unpinned. We were talking
Yes.
about your vetting list.
Yes.
Yeah, it is excellent. I appreciate you, Stephanie.
Yep, I sure will send it. Yes, ma'am.
Now,
Thank you so much.
I'd like to see it too, just because
Yeah,
I'm curious. You
yeah.
know,
Oh,
I know, I know. We started our own, but I'd love to see, what we got out there. Let's get
oh
it.
yeah,
Who did you say
yeah.
did that?
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, coming in
the
halfway in the
PDF.
conversation. Yeah, somebody else did. But yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, Stephanie's is good.
Yeah, it's really good. Thank you. And I also wanted to add something. Of course, like we say in the chat, potential is not demonstrated behavior. Again, potential on either side is not demonstrated behavior. You can't vet somebody based on who you hope they're going to become.
Mm.
So let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. So we're going to go ahead and touch on vetting or confirming. Sometimes we're not actually vetting anymore. At, at some point, we're collecting evidence to support a decision we've already made. Their experience, everybody knows them. They have multiple semesters. They teach. They have a title. They know all the terminology. Okay, but how do they handle being told no? How do they handle disappointment? How do they talk about former partners? Can they apologize? Can they receive feedback? Do their actions match their words? How do they behave when they're angry? That's all vetting too. It's all inclusive. So the big question is, are you vetting for compatibility or looking for confirmation that this is the person you already decided you wanted? Want to go ahead and go to the audience? So audience, what's one red flag you once overlooked because the connection felt too good to walk away from? Now, no names, no exposing anybody. We want the lesson, not the tea. You can DM me the tea. I'll take the tea. What's
I'll
one
read what
red
we
flag?
go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I just want to repeat the question. What's one red flag you once overlooked because the connection felt too good to walk away from?
And I'll go ahead and read what we have in the chat. EJ said if rush betting, you are screwed. Betting is important, so don't rush. And Stephanie said, starting out, I did. Coco said, swat the butterflies away, LOL. Is it Diasia? She said, putting everything
Bam.
out right away. Chance said, I'll own it in the beginning as a newbie. It was butterflies, sub frenzy, etc. It took heartache, pain, and being left hurt and disappointed to learn how important true vetting is. Timothy Ann
Yeah.
said, I was a sub for over a year before I ever heard of vetting.
Mm.
Tafoya said, I am a newbie, but I'm naturally guarded and an overthinker. I question everything naturally because I'm nosy. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't
Anywho
nothing wrong
said,
with that.
ain't nothing wrong with that. Anywho said,
Nothing at
frenzy
all.
is real. Um, Coco said, vetting potential is a no-no. Is that, yeah, that's what she said. And then Diasia said, the bombing on showing he is a dom. Chance said not being able to speak to a previous submissive, said they will all lie on him. And okay, then Sugar said the inconsistency of the visits vetting. I was new to everything and thought patience was part of the process. Any who said, I think sometimes as an S-type, we become guarded based off bad past experiences. We may not allow time to learn someone. The process of vetting could have missed or excused some red flags. Self awareness is important. Learning yourself first, I believe, assists you with aligning with the D type for you. Morgan says inconsistent communication. Stephanie said confusing chemistry with genuine interest.
So, ladies, may I speak?
Please.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step out on a limb and ask the DOMs that are in on Zoom tonight. Tell us what your wisdom to. We already have Stephanie's list of what we need to vet for. What would you gentlemen would like for us to do more of when being vetted? Getting to know you when we first meet you. That's my question for you.
I love that.
Singa, I love that you asked that because I legit just posted that in the BBE group about dominance,
Oh my gosh, you
vetting,
did.
submissives. I
Yeah.
legit just posted the importance of dominance also, watching out for S types that are just waiting to be
Yes.
collared, waiting to have the things and the names yeah, that's a great question. Such a great question.
So may I hear from the gentlemen, please? The sirs in the house.
Okay, well, I'll jump on. I saw somebody say that they wanted to see or they wanted to hear what the process was like. So I'm going to run through that, and in that, hopefully, it'll explain my thought process behind the length of time and allowing seasons to play out. Because when you first meet someone, things are all good. You know, they've been looking for you their whole life, and you're the best thing ever. And you know, it's all rainbows and unicorns and glitter and stuff, good girls and head pats and all that good stuff. Um, but then life starts happening as time goes, and they hit a rough patch. They might lose their job, and now you got to see how they respond to that. You know, something might happen in their family. You got to see how they respond to that. I believe it's important to see people through different seasons of their life. Part of that for me is my process. It takes a while. Some say it's long, too long. Some, you know, may not like it, but my process is a minimum, at a bare minimum, a year, at a maximum 2 years. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. You know, Carmen said it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. That's true. You know, you don't have to take up all of somebody's time before you realize that they're good for you or not. However, I do believe in seeing these seasons out. So I have a process. I'll run through it real quick.
Okay.
Have a pre-vetting process that's just getting to know each other, trying to figure out if we even like each other at all. You know, we might not, but just see if we even like each other, if we kind of click, if there's could be something there. Then we move on to formal vetting. Formal vetting is going to be a minimum of no less than 3 months, no more than 6 months. This is just formal vetting. This is us establishing structure and all of these good things, you know, making sure that we want the same things out of the dynamic and kind of forming what it's going to look like down the road. At the end of the 6 months, we move into consideration phase. No less than 6 months, no more than 1 year. During that time, if you notice, it all kind of works together. It's minimum 1 year, maximum 2 years. But during that time, we're establishing, okay, we're in this. We know what we're headed for. We're leading. We're in the home stretch here, and we're trying to see what it looks like, what our day to day is going to look like. But it's a process. I say all that to say it's a process. Then obviously, of course, comes signing, but it's a process. This process is designed to see you through different seasons and see how you respond to different stimulus. So that hopefully that answers that question for you. I just saw that pop up. I wanted to answer it real quick.
Thank you so much, Sir Knight, because it's important that we
Sir.
hear from you, gentlemen. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one thing to have a checklist for us, but it's more quality information to add to that list is to hear what is expected or what's observed of us when we step to you, when we vet.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let me just add to that then. I would add ask questions. If a dominant doesn't want you to ask questions, I always say it's because they don't know the answer. Ask questions about the dominant, not just, about like, their protocol or whatnot, but about the individual as well.
Mhm.
We like to know that we're being focused on a little bit and you really want to get to know us. Too often during the process, I find myself losing interest very early on when I'm asking questions and I'm getting an answer, but you're not asking me nothing. You really don't care to get to know me. So we don't need to do this. We don't have to continue doing this, So ask questions about the individual. That goes a long way. Real talk.
Thank you, Sir Knight.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anything else in the chat, sis?
Yes, we do. Let's see. Sugar said, because if I don't like you, it ain't gonna work. And Sugar said, oh my God, liking each other is real important. Folks don't realize that. And Coco said, the old folks say, what does he do when you step on his shoe? Stephanie said, yes. Coco said, yes, it's not an interview. And then Stephanie said, one Dom thought I was doing too much trying to get to know him better. LOL. And then Amy who said, thank you, sir. And Stephanie said, I was like, okay, bye.
So Stephanie said, peace.
I
All
love
righty.
Stephanie.
So, I know. That's my girl. So let's have a little fun, Singer. Let's make this educational and a little fun. I'm going to give you something that happens in dynamics, and you tell me red flag, yellow needs more context, conversation, or green, not necessarily a problem, and tell us why. So, scenario one, every ex was crazy. Someone wants protocol. Well, every ex was crazy. Is that a red flag? Needs more conversation context, or green, not necessarily a problem? So red, yellow, or green.
That's a red. Everyone was? That's a red for real.
All right. Someone wants protocol almost immediately. Is that a red flag, yellow, or green?
That's a red.
A D types becomes defensive when receiving feedback.
I want to say,
Yellow.
that's a caution. That's cautious. Yeah, that's yellow.
Yeah, it needs a little bit
Because,
more conversation
yeah, that's,
context. Yeah,
yeah,
kind of
that's a
depends.
caution
Yeah.
one.
An S type becomes deeply attached during vetting.
That's a red flag.
Alrighty. I'm like, yes. Yeah. Rules change frequently without discussion. Is that a red flag? Yellow? Okay. Let's see. Someone constantly needs reassurance.
Oh, that's exhausting. That's not one of them.
It is that is
That's
exhausting
exhausting.
because
That's
what are we
exhausting.
doing?
Yes.
Exactly. A person uses their years of experience as proof that they're right.
Oh, that's a red flag.
Alrighty.
And the reason
Every
why I say that's a red flag because
yeah,
your experience is a good reference, but it don't make it right.
exactly. It definitely does not. And every disagreement becomes disrespect. Red, yellow, or green.
Baby. I'm gonna say caution because it depends on what it's going. It could be red or caution. It depends where it's
I,
coming
I
from. It's caution.
I
It's
agree.
yellow. Yeah.
Yellow. You think yellow, Queen?
What you think,
And here's
Queen?
Give me the question one more time. I was in the comment section.
every disagreement becomes disrespect.
Oh, yeah, that's yellow because not everything is disrespectful. Mm-mm.
And then here's my favorite. They've never been the problem in any relationship they've ever had.
Shit, me red.
And my Louisiana voice, baby, you know that's red for real, you know.
Oh, for real.
Alrighty, now everybody gets to participate. Here's tonight's mirror question. What if you aren't toxic, but one of your patterns is? That's different because maybe you're a wonderful person who rushes, avoids conflict, people pleases, ignores boundaries, falls for potential, over functions, tries to rescue people, stays too long, leaves too quickly, doesn't communicate until you're already angry, or repeatedly chooses relationships that aren't actually compatible with what you really need. None of that means you're the problem. It means there's something you now have the power to change. So you are the common denominator in these instances. Do we have any questions or any input on that? Anybody in the chat? Anybody can come off and talk on camera. I want to see some faces. Y'all a little
Yeah, I would
quiet
like to
tonight.
see some people unmute. I want to
Right.
hear some voices on this one.
Yeah.
I'm just
May I?
gonna read the one comment in there really quick, and then Latricia, you can go. I'm gonna just read it's only like one comment. Um, Kayla says, as a newbie, I pay close attention to the movements, energy, and boundaries set and displayed by current subs and how the Dom maintains and balances over it all, especially during the vetting process. If order and alignment are absent, I tend to run. I thrive on harmonious connections and authenticity. There should be no main character energy, and Dom should make that clear. In my opinion, if we aren't cohesive, are we really a family or a house? This is what I struggle with.
That's a good answer. Thank you.
Mm.
And
Was that the only
Latricia, go
one we
ahead.
have? Okay.
Yeah, everybody was just agreeing to
Okay.
red, green, or yellow in the chat. And then Latricia can go, and I think Sugar has her hand up.
All
So
righty. Hey,
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
So
hey,
it
huh?
sis.
was it was over part of what you were saying in the last portion about if it's always somebody else. If you're coming and saying this Dom did me wrong and this Dom did me wrong, or on the other side of the slash, if you keep running into S types, like at some point you have to sit down and do some self-reflection, self-introspection, whatever it is you want to call it. There may be a real reason why you are repeating patterns. We've all seen the little wheel when it comes to cycles of abuse and everything. And if that started out in childhood and it continued, there is a repeat of that. However, you don't get to use that as an excuse. So at some point, when you're like, why does the same thing keep happening? The common denominator is you. You're the one who goes with you everywhere that you go. So at some point, you have to take a pause, step back from whatever it is, relationships, the lifestyle, whatever it is where you keep having these patterns. And if you want to call it shadow work, whatever it is, figure out what it is. And if it is true trauma, then go to therapy. Like there's ways to go to therapy even without insurance. And I say that as somebody who had to go through that to be able to get into therapy without insurance. You
Yes.
have to take accountability for it. You do not get to continue to just say, everyone else is wrong, because then at that point, you become just as unsafe as the DOMs that we complain about being predatory. If you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
take accountability and take power of, I can control this within myself so
Mhm.
that my surroundings can no longer affect me in that negative way, you're just as dangerous and unsafe.
Facts.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And
ma'am.
Therapy
with
is
that
key.
being said, sis, you have blessed us once again because that's
Oh my
facts.
goodness. Yeah, therapy is
Hmm.
key. Definitely. I got a therapy appointment in the morning. Clock it.
All right, Sugar, you can go, and then Coco wants to say something too.
Sugar, sugar.
Hey y'all, good evening. That part where Sir Knight was talking and he was talking about whether or not you like each other. The last person that was vetting me, I liked pieces of him. I was I take accountability for that because I liked pieces of him, like pieces. But it was certain things about him. I was like, why you do that? Oh, that's ugly. And I tried to like when I would try to talk to him, because I don't do eye contact very well, he took that as when you're not looking at me, you got something on your mind or you got something to say. It don't be that. It be I don't do eye contact real well. You won't work on it. I try to work on it, but it's a different thing. But that I don't that part about liking people, you can like the dynamic, you can like certain things about them, that person. Y'all, I'm a Holders fan because I'm menopausal and the flashes come fast. Um,
Understood.
the I you can like people and you can like certain dynamics of people, but you can also not like their personality, not like the way they touch you, not like the way they make you feel and stuff like that. And all of that comes into play. And I used to say, because I'm so new to this lifestyle that I don't know nothing, but a lot of this stuff happened in my vanilla life and in my swinger when I was in the swinger livelihood. It's certain stuff about people that you don't like. And if you don't like that person, and if it's more about that person that you don't like, and you still trying to do the dynamic with them, it's like spoiled milk, and
Hmm.
it don't really mesh well, and you be trying to, and I tried, and it was so much going on within that vetting, because y'all remember, if the S types remember, I was the one that requested to come out of the vetting. I didn't wait on him because he was doing too much, and I didn't got old, and I don't really want that all of that friction and that extra energy when I'm trying to do this, and you ain't really trying to do this. You really was just coming to tap ass, and I was cool with that for a minute, but that wasn't what that was supposed to be about. You had me sign a contract. I mean, you had me talk about a contract and sign a contract, and we ain't even doing none of the contract stuff, and it was irritating me. And that's
Mhm.
why I was like, I don't want to be in this no more, because the focus of what it actually was is completely gone. And I would take accountability for it. He never did, but I did. I took accountability for it. I was like, I kind of like certain pieces of you more than I like what I was supposed to be liking about you. And that was the reason why. But the only thing I do want to ask is, what happens when you have like so many odds and ends to everything, and you get locked into this what you want this dynamic to be, and then all of a sudden you realize that that ain't really what you want. Like it's some stuff that's kind of churning. I think it's because my birthday is Sunday, and it's a whole lot of stuff going around in
Yeah.
my mind. Yeah, I
Happy
be
birthday.
50, girl. I be
Girl,
50 and
50.
a
Hey, I
5-year-old
turned
man. Don't
50
worry
this
about
year.
it.
Hey, all
But
the cool kids turn 50. You good.
what happens when you think you got it down, you think you got that program down or that dynamic down, and all of a sudden you be like, that ain't really what I want. Cause this was happening now. Like it's a whole lot of stuff I don't really want it no more.
You have a conversation with yourself, and when you're confident in your answer that you don't want it, then you move. You never stay. You're not stuck in nothing. You leave. You ask to be released. Have a conversation and check deuces. And wish them well. Give them feedback. Send them an email. Let them know why you leaving. Keep it pushing. Don't stay. Abort. Run. Running man. Leave.
I think,
That's it. Simple.
right, right. Yeah, all that's true. I think the key is recognizing that, you're allowed to evolve. This whole thing is about evolution. We're all constantly evolving, and when you evolve, sometimes the environment that you're in is no longer viable. That's the whole point of evolution, be able to survive,
Yeah.
in another environment. So you're allowed that. If you make a decision, I would say you definitely want to make sure that that is something you're willing to stand on, because
Yeah.
some things you can't come back from, some things you can't unring that bell. So, and I know for me, you anybody asks me for release, it's done. And honestly, it's not about fighting or nothing like that, but you got to respect people's wishes and respect what they want to do with their life. So if you're ready to ask for that, just be sure that that's what you that's what you really want. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So just wanted to throw that out
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Knight.
Thank you, sir.
there.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Coco. Can you come off mute?
Hola, how y'all doing?
Hola.
Hello, Coco.
Hey. So I just wanted to give my experience, not the tea, um, about my beginner stage uh of being submissive. So uh there was one person that I didn't even know vetting was a thing when I was talking to a particular dom. Um, and I was trying to learn because I was a people pleaser at the time what it is that he wanted a submissive to be like. I had no roadway, no plan, no template of what I want, of what I needed and to look for. Unfortunately, his other submissive was would constantly reach out, and it was a red flag at the time, but I wanted to please that person when she stated that I would never have to worry about having aftercare. Yeah, that I don't need after. You don't need he's that good. You don't even need aftercare. And on the side of my mind, even though I knew better and I learned about aftercare, I was like, oh, okay. And when I look back at that situation, even though I was new, I learned that as a people pleaser, um, you abandon yourself. You
Mm,
abandon yourself because you are just doing whatever it takes to make the other person happy. And that's such
mm,
a dangerous place to be, which is why it's so important to build within yourself as to who you are as a submissive. And it's also a form of manipulation to a dominant. So it's really, you have to be careful that you build your own blocks of who you are as a submissive to the fullest. So when you come out into the community and you see the options, you know what's going to fit into your world and be unapologetic about it and move forward in that direction. So that was that was what I wanted to
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Ooh, go ahead, Coco, dropping gems. No, you can
Well
DM me
said,
that tea. You
Coco.
know how we
Yeah,
do.
that was
Thank
great.
you,
Well
Coco.
said. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yes.
The only thing I would like to add to that, because you said everything, dominance, everything she said, that goes for you guys too. Make sure that you're self-aware and doing the work for yourself. That way, when a submissive comes in, you're not neglecting yourself to give her or him everything that they want or desire, and then you forget who you are. So
Agreed.
that goes for D
I
types as
agree. I
well.
totally agree. Totally
Yeah,
agree.
that's definitely important for
Well,
sure. Do we have
it,
anything else in
do the wrong thing to clock it.
there? Yes.
That ain't it, is it? That ain't the right finger. We'll do that.
Ah, do this. Thank you for that. Did we have somebody else that wanted to speak before we move on? Because we'll close out in just a bit.
We just have a little bit in the chat. Um, let's see. Quinn said, therapy is a wonderful thing, whether you feel like you have an issue or not. Having a place where you
Yeah.
can examine your process is amazing. Coco said, party with sugar. And Tafoya said, I turned 50 last week. Happy early birthday. Latricia says, if you're more negative and it's not being beneficial for your growth and well-being, don't prolong it. You do more of a disservice to the dynamic, forcing something that isn't going to be long-term good.
Yeah.
And then if you ladies want to answer this, I kind of answered, and I think Sugar answered as well. Is there a proper way to ask to be released?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Stink.
Yes, there is. Um, if it's in person, um, y- use your calm communicator voice, not rude or disrespectful, because it depends on whether that emotional moment where that particular person is. So try to calm yourself and address the person you want to be released from. Make sure that it is clearly verbalized. And if it is in contract, please get a copy that you've been released. Because sometimes they come back to bite you. So I always say in person or with the contract. Texting, it's to me, I'm old school. You deserve more than that. You've given
Yeah.
into that lifestyle with that person. You should exit with that same respect with that person. I would not text.
Yeah.
But definitely in person, or if you have a contract, do it with a contract, but do it with a controlled heart and not a bitter heart. Yeah.
Yeah, no crash out. No crash out.
Right.
That
Key
was
too
great.
is in order for it to, you have to do it in a way where it's not out of anger, where
Yeah.
it's not like during an argument. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like y'all getting into it and you just spit out in the moment because you're emotional. You spit out, well, just don't, you can't, you don't do that. You got to have more self control than that.
Yes.
Have a conversation with yourself, like really come to terms with this. It's more valuable when you come that way and you say, look, I thought
Right.
about this long and hard. We need to talk about this. Let's sit down. It
Yeah.
demands a little bit more respect too. So yeah, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank you.
definitely agree.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
it's just two more in the chat.
Okay.
Um, Morgan Cherry said, I know I was a problem a few times way before we started exploring this LS. I was hell on wheels, LOL, self-reflection, therapy, and hard conversations helped me realize that and make the necessary changes. That growth has helped me tremendously, and I have been able to bring those tools into our exploration. And Sugar said, I've been the problem a lot. I was the reason my marriage ended. I was the reason why my 20s and part of my 30s were trash. I'm still working on not being the problem. She also said therapy kept me from hitting people with keyboards. And Duchess said, thank you. Latricia said, I was on the phone with him and started with, may we talk outside of our protocols. Then
Oh,
I, that was a good one.
that was a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. As
And
long as
then,
I just don't
go
like
ahead.
texting. It's so
Yeah, definitely wouldn't text. Yeah.
yeah. Texting is not good.
And then she said, then I explained the issues and concerns I was having and that I no longer felt safe vetting and was done with it. I sent an email with the contract attached and what parts of the contract had been broken by him, and also let my sister, wife, sub know that if he didn't allow us to continue talking, have a great life. And Sugar said therapy kept me from hitting, she said that already, hitting people with the keyboards. So that's all in the chat, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I know we touched. Thank you. I know we touched on patterns. I know what Latricia brought up when she spoke about patterns. So how do we break the pattern? This is where education has to become useful, because we're not going to spend an hour telling everybody to look in the mirror and then say, well, good luck with that. Once you recognize the pattern, how do you actually break it? So you slow down, especially in vetting, which we always, please slow down with vetting. If it's supposed to be long term, they'll be there. God willing, they'll be there. Slow down. You don't need to know everything immediately. And time reveals things chemistry can't. I always say time reveals truth. Give people a chance to show their authentic self. Nobody can keep their representative, aka mask on forever. Well, also, we want you to look for patterns, not promises, because people say anything. I say, don't only listen to what somebody says. They're going to do. Watch what they repeatedly do. That's important. I'm a big actions person. Years
Mhm.
ago, in my naive days, I would always say, "Oh, well, so and so said this or they said that," and then when I was blindsided because I didn't look at the actions, I looked at the words. Nearing 50 is actions only. So I'll listen to what you say, but definitely your actions tell me everything, and you just move accordingly. Ask better
Mhm.
questions, not just what are your kinks. Everybody knows in this love style, I call it love style, you're going to get to the kinks. It's BDSM. There's a whole list of questions which Stephanie can send you that you asked before. One of the questions, how do you handle conflicts? Tell me about a time you were wrong. What did your last relationship teach you? What happens when someone tells you no? Now, that's on both slashes. Keep your boundaries. Please keep your boundaries during NRE, which is the new relation energy stage. That boundary you established before you got butterflies still matters after you get butterflies. Listen to
Yes.
feedback without automatically defending yourself, which can sometimes be hard. I understand. Sometimes feedback is an attack. It's a data. It's data to work on yourself, to improve your submission. It's very useful throughout your submissive journey. Check compatibility, not just chemistry, because if you're going to be in a long-term dynamic, sometimes chemistry might not be there. One day it may come back, but compatibility will stand the test of time. Compatibility will take you through the seasons that you need for your dynamic and your DS relationship. Watch repair. Everybody makes mistakes. The question isn't whether somebody ever gets it wrong. What do they do after they get it wrong? And to
Mhm.
think of, what would you add to that list?
Ooh, you covered it all. But that last one you
Yeah,
said, um, if they don't even want to take a self-reflection on maybe I do need to do some things different on how
yeah,
I approach, how I say things.
yeah,
Um, I'm big on verbiage, choose your words wisely. You'll have a better result. Some people, they said, I will, and then actually they don't. So you have to look for that. And my whole thing is if you have to bring it to their attention more than twice, then you already know it's not going to change. And the reason why I say that, because the person is not willing to catch what they say before they speak it. So And that goes for any and everybody. And if you just
Yeah.
have to, if you don't catch yourself and be cautious and knowing that person is watching for your change, they're watching for it and they don't see it, you know, they just want a little bit of seeing that you've heard what they said and act on it. So that last one, I say that carries a lot of weight because people always say, "Oh, I'll do this and I'll do this," and they really don't. So that stuck out to me more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. So tonight we're going to go ahead and move on because we're going to be closing out. I know we're a little bit over, guys. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with us tonight. We're going to go ahead and touch on our Triskelion Academy. Um, and we're going to go ahead and start with Senga on the course she covered and tell you all a little bit about the academy. It's my sir's baby. He's put his blood, sweat, and tear and feet in it. And we definitely will highlight it every week on this Tuesday Talk just so you all can get a chance to see what's offered. And Queen is going to drop the website, which is www.triskelionsacademy.com in the chat for you to take a look. And you can go ahead and spotlight, Senga.
So the course that I took is called Event Readiness. It prepares safety in BDSM and experiencing in gatherings or events. And I found it very resourceful. I want to direct it at Queen, at some of the events that they host. These are some of the things that helps new people when they go to events, how to prepare themselves, what questions they ask, what dress code and protocol is required, and this information is carried. I mean, it's covered in this gathering or event settings that Sir Knight put into the educational side. So it's an etiquette when you go to events and gatherings. And I think no. I know it's very helpful because when you are a newbie and you go into something of our type of event, you want to know the dress code. You want to know what to physically and mentally to expect. And this is a definitely good helping tool to get you in the mindset of preparing for that. So big ups to you, Sir Knight. It's an excellent program.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we put a lot into it. We created it over roughly a 3-year time period, and it's really informative. So if y'all get a chance, just go check it out. You know, there is a free trial right now. All the stuff that we do, we don't charge anything for it. We try to just get it out there to the people. So just check it out. You could just go in, do a couple classes real quick, and then you can cancel, or if you just want to stay, you can stay. It's $20 a month. It's not a whole lot, but you get a whole lot of information and a whole lot of worksheets, and it's constantly growing on a consistent basis. So just make sure y'all go check it out, and you're gonna love it. I promise you're gonna love it. If you don't love it, let me know, but you're gonna love it.
That part.
You definitely will. Thank you. And I also want to plug my baby, Good Girls After Dark. I do adult boutique treats and I do have I am accepting orders. I do ship except for ice cream, only Texas and Ohio ice cream orders currently. So if you all can check out my Facebook, Good Girls After Dark. I've been baking for a while, but I'm up legit and running and I'm trying to take this off. So I would welcome any feedback. And if you would want to watch my journey on my Facebook page, Good Girls After Dark, appreciate that. And I'm going to go ahead and send it over to you, Singer, so we can go ahead and do our final closing because I know people want to get off and get into bed. And I'm about to put this bonnet on a little bit myself.
So can anybody really be the problem? We all are the problem. But guess what? Let's both work on it so we'll have the solution to the problem. That part.
Absolutely. And Queen, sis, you want to go ahead? Do you have any final closing thoughts? And then we'll go to the chat and then we'll go ahead and close out. Sorry.
Only a couple of things. Be okay with asking questions. Ask what their medical history is. How long do I have to take care of you if something happens to you? What
Mhm.
happens to our dynamic if you cannot physically mentally, emotionally take care of this dynamic? What do you expect from me as a submissive if you pass the hell out and I don't know what type of medication you're on? So please ask health questions when you're vetting people. And then remember to give yourself grace. Remember to also to give your D-type grace because we are human beings. Just because we have all these titles, we're still human beings. And life happens, and sometimes the dominants just can't do it. So where do you pick up the slack as an S-type? Where do you pick it up? So if you're not really willing to like hold your dominant on your back and support him as much as you expect it, go sit down and go do some more education because these are like people's real lives. They're not playing games here, and you got to be able to not only uphold yourself but to uphold the D type too. That's
Yeah.
that's all I got.
A lot of
Excellent.
responsibility. That's perfect.
Excellent.
Yes, that's so true. I always say I got his left and his back.
I mean,
Definitely.
you really just have to.
Yeah,
And there's like
definitely.
two. These were really good. Chance said,
Okay.
yet another good Zoom. Have a great night. Latricia said, thank you. Tofa said, thank you. And then Tanya said, learning your own submission is so important. And then there were like a couple of
Yeah.
comments. Like she's also said, you have to know what you bring to the table so you know who won't be allowed to eat there with you.
You do. That's in the that's in the vanilla world. Like when you know what you
And
bring to the table. Yeah, it's important.
and then she also said, I have I have an owner's manual that asks all of this.
Oh, nice. Do you mind sharing that? Would you mind DMing me that? I'd like to take a look. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out. Did she say
I
anything,
will,
Queen?
Miss Summer. I'll send
Oh,
it to
thank
you.
you. Oh, thank you so much. So thank you for your final closing, Queen and Senga, and thank you for everybody who showed up tonight and was willing to have the conversation that required a little self-reflection, and that continues. Remember, this isn't about shame, it isn't about blame, and it definitely isn't about diagnosing everybody you've ever dated. It's about education, awareness, accountability, and growth. Keep learning, please keep vetting, keep communicating, keep paying attention to patterns, and don't become so committed to proving everybody else was wrong that you miss what the experience was trying to teach you. I'm Summer Knight, alongside my beautiful co-host Sanga and Queen, my sis, for holding us down in the chat. And thank you for joining us. And before we go, we know y'all came really from my sir's joke. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, sir, so you can go ahead and close us out with the joke of Tuesday. Floor is yours.
Well, before I get to what everybody's really here for, I just want to say that um, these topics that we talk about are so important. It's so important in the community. There's very few places where you can go and have these sort of conversations. So I truly appreciate everyone taking their time and showing up day after day when we do these things. And we're kicking it up. We're ramping it up. We're giving you more. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a new show called Ask a Dom. This show is going to be crazy. We got Solomon Abrams. Everybody knows him. You've all heard of him before. You've seen his work. If not, you've seen it, but you just didn't realize it was his work. But he's going to be here tomorrow. He's going to talk to us. We're going to be asking him some deep questions. We took a bunch of questions from you guys, and he's okay with answering those questions too. So it's going to be a good time. We're going to talk about growth. We're going to talk about uh, dynamics. We're going to talk about relationships, integrity, just a real good conversation. So I encourage everyone to go ahead and check us out. You already got the link. This is the link that we're going to be using. It's going to be tomorrow at the same time, tomorrow at 7. So make sure you tune in for that. I want to talk briefly about Fortioris Una and what that means to me. I say it every week because I really want y'all to understand that this is truly a passion for us. This is something that we really believe in. Fortioris Una is Latin for stronger together. We have to make sure that we're standing shoulder to shoulder with decolonizing BDSM and kink. This is our space. We built this from the ground up. this whole ecosystem is designed to constantly feed us and give us more and more information and more insight and more access so that we can be better with everything that we're doing here. And in this whole lifestyle, to be honest. I really appreciate you guys coming through and supporting us in the group, supporting us on these Zoom calls, supporting us in the chats and in the academy and all of these things. You know, it means a lot to us. When we started this thing, it was just an idea, something we thought might could work, and it caught like wildfire. So here we are. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all jokes so y'all can get out of here. Give y'all material so you can go to work tomorrow and tell these people it's your joke. Because I know y'all be telling people it's your joke. Why can't dinosaurs clap? Because they're extinct. Somebody was thinking because they got short arms. See? No, because they're extinct. Anyway, thanks for coming tonight, y'all, and spending time with us. I know y'all have better things to do on your Tuesday night, but come through with us if you listen to me ramble on at the end of these things. So I'm just gonna she was thinking short arms. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this tonight for y'all. Fortiora Suna. Have a good evening, all. See you tomorrow.
Bye, y'all. Good night.